What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Golden Dice Podcast, episode number 65. Definitely going to be one of the more sad episodes, but not going to be our last. With me, I got Scott and Flockton. How are you guys tonight?
I'm trying to convince Jack to not censor me anymore since, the wheels are off.
Yeah, that, dude.
I hate.
Let's go.
Let's do this, bro. Dirty angles, boys.
Wheel snipe sellies.
Wheel snipe sellies.
Something terribly wrong. I think we're just going to end the podcast.
Podcast dead.
So obviously the news, and everybody has heard about it. At this point, the game has officially been canceled. Fantasy Flight came out with an article called "The Saga Concludes." This was a long-awaited OP article that we had been waiting for, excited to see how 2020 would play out.
Yep, because it's going to align with our, what Worlds is going to align with our 2020 OP goals, right,
Yep.
Alex Watkins? Is that how that's supposed to work?
Yeah. Yeah, I've loved Matt through this whole process, but I am not leaving Destiny with a high opinion of Alex. Yeah, I don't think he's posted in Destiny since April last year. He has no involvement in the game. He doesn't care.
I don't think his Ask Me Anything is going to go all that well, even with the news.
I just got a Nova email.
Yeah, I hope
Destiny's not on there.
Backed out.
See Star Wars Legion, X-Wing, and no Destiny. Feels bad, man.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, I hope Chance Cube had just done a fundraiser. Talking about that, but I hope they were able to back out of that. But yeah, so with the article, the saga concludes. They had a nice bit from Jeremy at the end, but what I'm sure everybody's interested in is the fact that they announced the upcoming Covert Missions booster set will be the last product produced for Star Wars Destiny. Destiny will continue to be sold on the FFG website as long as stock remains, is what they said. So Covert Missions is it, and it's hard not to...
Air quote it.
It, yeah. Yeah, there'll be something a little after that we'll talk about in a second, but to me, it's hard not to feel a little weird about this. Yes, it technically came out before Covert Missions, but if Covert Missions came out in October when it was supposed to, then
this would have been well after, yeah.
Yeah, this would have been after that. So I can't really give credit to FFG for saying, hey, thanks for getting this out before Covert Missions so we know we could cancel orders. I don't know. This just doesn't... And even then, it was supposed to come out It was supposed to come out this Friday, and this dropped on Tuesday. It's supposed to come out on the 17th, even with the delay.
Maybe the article comes out earlier. If it's not delayed, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, they could have just delayed the article until after the set if they had wanted to.
Yeah, or it could have. Yeah, who knows how the process works?
It's not an altruistic thing. It's probably just a pragmatic business decision to say all right, well, we make 87 million other games. If some people are going to not want to look at FFG again after Destiny as is. And if you were to then kind of do it to the max level of dirtiness, you'd have even more people saying that I'm not going to buy FFG products anymore. They got a lot of lines that they've probably gotten a decent bit of cross-pollination with, given people's first foray into their stuff. It just doesn't make any business sense for them to burn that bridge more than they already have to, which, I mean, it's just going to happen somewhat with the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame anybody that has talked about that they're done with FFG, especially in a like card like else. I don't know. Marvels I'll still play because that's just like that just feels like a board game to me. If delays hit, that's fine because I'm not playing it like every day, not going to events with it and stuff like that.
Yeah. And like the events that may exist for it are probably just going to exist at conventions that you may be attending for other reasons. You're not like waiting on them. You're not even waiting on product for it. So it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's the perfect FFG game.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
things come, they come.
That's why I wouldn't be surprised if they never get into, like, despite a CCG being a potential like good money grab, I wouldn't be surprised if FFG is like, all right, let's just do LCGs.
I mean, with like Keyforge, that's like the one that I'm like, well, I don't know if they still are going to be doing something with the Star Wars card game license. Which, I mean, if they have it, they're probably going to do something for it. I wouldn't surprise me if it's like a Keyforge type thing.
I hope it has
that type
mechanics.
of distribution.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not too high on Keyforge's distribution. I don't like the game at all, so if it was a different game distributed that way, I wouldn't necessarily say no to it.
I see it be more like a Marvel Champions game if they do another one.
Yeah, but how many different co-op LCGs can they have?
As many as people will buy.
I guarantee you, if you just take the same way Marvel Champions is played and just call it Star Wars Champions, I think it would sell just as much as it would if it was another weird mechanic that they give it, just because it has Star Wars on it. You know, like I'm not gonna buy Marvel Champions because I'm not a Marvel fan, but I'll buy the Star Wars version of it because freaking Star Wars, dude.
Yeah, but there's going to be people that would be like, I'm not going to buy the Star Wars version of this game because I already have the Marvel version. I'm not buying like just a different skin.
People do that just for different skins all the time.
People do it for.
I mean, how much is Marvel Champions? Not that expensive, right?
No, it's not expensive.
It's like what, 60 for the starter and like 15.
That's always been one of the big selling points of their LCGs was that you're not necessarily just a single LCG player. You're like an FFG LCG player. But one of the, like having no differential between your games would probably not go over well with the crowd that FFG normally attracts with their games.
I would agree that I would hope something would be different between the games rather than just.
I would hope too. I'm just saying, like, even if they say they did take the same mechanics that would just put Star Wars on it, I think they would still sell a lot and it would still do really well. Because I guarantee you both, if they came out with the Star Wars Champions, you both would buy it, even if it's the same mechanics and everything.
I would not actually.
I probably would. I'm a
that would be that would be too lazy. Like it would just be the type of thing where it would be a misuse of the license, and at that point it'd be like, what's the point? I already have the Marvel one.
Jack, you can play as Han now.
But that would be like so weird too. Like I feel like Star Wars generally get people who want to play both sides. Like I feel like
people have said that, but with like Marvel, there's always been people are fine with playing the villains. If you look at any like Marvel competitive game, whether it was like HeroClix or Versus or whatever, people play villains. And
I mean, you could probably do the same thing where you just have like you have the boss is the hero character like Yoda, and your villain character trying to kill Yoda or something like that.
I mean, I guarantee you, there's going to be Marvel Champions characters that are villains. Even if it's like it might, Loki is like an easy one, obviously. Like that'll eventually be a thing.
Oh, I was just saying at its core. Like I don't know. I feel like people like if you're looking at a starter set, like say Star Wars did that, it like the evil people could be like Vader, Tarkin, and I don't know, somebody else, and the heroes that you get are like Han, Leia, Luke, and let's go with Wedge for you.
Thanks,
Scott. Like that seems fine and stuff, but I think there would be some people who would be a little bit more disappointed of, oh, I don't get to be Vader in that instance. Whereas Marvel, I think that's less of a barrier.
So that was because this was like the first thing that FFG planned to do with the Star Wars card game license was a Star Wars competitive cooperative LCG, and they debuted it at Gen Con, so they previewed it, and the two biggest issues with it were, one, you couldn't play as the villains. That was like people's constant feedback to it, and 2, it was too similar to their Lord of the Rings card game. And honestly, it was basically like it felt almost like a reskin, and they scrapped the game. So I don't think that they would do a Star Wars LCG that was a reskin of Marvel, because you just go back to those same complaints that caused them to scrap the game to begin with.
Yeah.
Like they tried the LCG, like that was the co-op LCG was the first idea that they had, and it literally was like ready to go, and they were like, no, never mind. It was received so badly at Gen Con that they redesigned the game entirely and came out with the competitive Star Wars LCG that Tommy and I used to play. They had to design that game in like 7 months.
Oh, wow.
Because it was out by like next year. So you figure like you only have like 6 or 7 months to actually design it, get everything approved, and then get it printed.
Well, I didn't realize that they had to scrap the whole thing.
Oh yeah, it was, and that was part of the reason why the Star Wars LCG probably had so many problems initially. It was like comically poorly balanced, and the first expansion to it was a like multiplayer set that didn't really expand on the game, and then there was a delay, so it was like the balance issues didn't get fixed for a while, for like a very long time.
Fun.
Yeah. Just, FFG stuff. FFG doing FFG stuff.
Classic stuff.
Classic.
So yeah, so we know Covert Missions is the last set. We still don't have a release date for that as of recording right now on the 15th. February is what could you imagine? All right, so my next thing is that they announced that Worlds is the last organized play event, and that'll be taking place May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd at Fantasy Flight Game Center in Roseville, Minnesota. And so it'll be serving as the ultimate accumulation of skill for Star Wars Destiny players. Tickets are available if you've already listening, and they're sold out if you're already listening. So if you haven't gotten a ticket, you'll have to keep your eyes out for a second wave of people who didn't claim seats that would have had them reserved through primes or events, whatever it might be. But yeah, so could you imagine a world where Covert Mission gets so delayed that it's not here for Worlds?
Yeah, I don't. God, I don't even like. That would be so. You'd have like a protest inside the FFG event center.
I feel like people would just get wasted like during the game. Like nobody would. I mean, there'd be a select few of people who would care and be like, "I want to win," and I understand that. But if it's on that meta, dude, you can't convince me to care at all.
I mean, honestly, if that were the case, God, I mean, if I was FFG at that point, like, you'd have to like cancel the event or something. Because that could get ugly. That would get ugly.
I don't think we're there because we're LVO as of right now.
We're not anywhere close to. We're not anywhere close to that. It's just
Could you imagine?
It would be the culmination of hilarity.
Yeah. But I mean, on the Worlds topic, I mean, we as a team, we as Golden Dice, we're stoked. All of us got tickets, right? Eldest and I had one reserved, and then you two and Brian bought tickets today.
I was just hitting at work. I was just clicking that refresh button. Everybody else in the room with me was like, "What are you clicking what are you clicking so much for?" I'm like, "It won't start." It just like paused for like 4 minutes.
You don't understand. But yeah, I mean, we're going, and we got like a house basically right down the street for our Airbnb. We actually have an article coming out tomorrow, so the timing of this is all great. So we were expanding our team, Golden Dice. The joke was that they're Golden Dice North. So we have a few of our patrons and people we've known for a little bit who wanted to kind of join on the team and start doing content. And so they are from Minnesota. So we were like, hey, let's get together. And they'll be staying with us as well as Adam from Kappa Cup. So we're excited to, I don't know, it'll just be a really fun weekend playing the game.
Wait, Adam doesn't hate us?
Yeah, after Nova, I thought he was never going to stay with us again, but he could get his own room, so that could solve the issue of drunk arguing.
I want the bunk bed.
All right, yeah,
you are definitely in the bunk bed room. You and Brian.
Frick yeah, dude.
There you go.
Well, no, Brian and I got to share the same bed though.
Well, yeah. There's one room.
We'll take the twin, the bottom twin. We got it.
Well, there's a queen in there. I'm pretty sure. There's one queen and then like 2 bunk beds.
I'll take the twin with Brian.
Okay,
makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, so what were your guys' reasoning? Like, why do you care about Worlds? Like, what was the reasons that kind of got you guys to go?
Didn't want to feel left out.
FOMO.
Everyone was just like, "Yep, going." I'm like, "All right, fudge, I'll go." I guess I'll go.
There's definitely that like momentum there behind it. It'll be on a new set, which is good because obviously like the push to play has been pretty minimal, and it'll just be a nice little send off, and it comes at a convenient time for me as far as like my schedule at work. If it didn't come at a convenient time for that, then we'd be hemming and hawing a little more.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just, it's like one of those things you don't want to miss out on. Of everything with this game, we've always talked about how great the community is. And so this is like the one last chance to kind of see everybody. Of course, like you talked about, there could be crossover for FFG games. Like if I end up getting to X-Wing or Legion and I go to a tournament and, there might be a few people I recognize there or something. But
there will be a few, but there won't be everyone.
Nope. People go their own ways. People go into different CCGs. Some people are just leaving FFG completely. So, this was just like a good way for send-off. It does feel a little last minute, like FFG, if this came out in October again, they would have just, I feel like, said the one in 2019 was the last Worlds. They kind of went all out for it, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Might have been the case. I mean, they'll make a ton of money off this event because you basically have a captive audience to sell concessions to the entire time.
Yes, and
at a space that you already operate.
Yeah, they're not paying anything extra. They're just kind of setting the stuff up. Like you said, they definitely make a lot of money off concessions that weekend.
Is there a bar nearby?
They sell alcohol in the event center.
Frick yeah, dude.
That's what I was saying. It was like, if this meta is World's
awesome.
meta, I feel like people are just going to drink before they go and then drink while they're there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. That's why I think you need to split up somewhere between like day 1A and day 1B. So like whoever's playing on the opposite day just keeps bringing the other person a beer so they don't have to get up. That'd be nice.
Yeah, in Minnesota, if you sell food, you're allowed to sell beer and wine. No liquor, though.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
In case anybody doesn't know, New Jersey has like the strictest liquor and alcohol laws. So there's
in the state of Pennsylvania, you have to have a certain amount of supervisory adults to children. So say Jack, you were leading like a church retreat or whatnot, and you decided to like go to a restaurant, you could not drink at the restaurant if you had like over a certain amount of kids with you.
Man, Northeast is weird.
In fact, the restaurant wouldn't even be allowed to have you in there if like the ratio was off.
Like eat?
Yeah, you just wouldn't be allowed to be in the restaurant.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then so many weird ones. Minnesota's a little bit more.
Is that Philadelphia as well? Because I don't think they go through with all the laws in Philly.
Well, it's the restaurant caring enough, and then two different things sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, Philly has strict ones too. A lot of rules about how long your happy hours can be and what you can offer. You have to go to a whole like 8-hour class about that. It's annoying.
Ooh, that Philly special though.
Anyways,
Philly have it.
I don't know how much people care about that.
No one cares about
it. So yeah, Worlds is coming. We as Golden Dice will be there. Golden Dice North will be there. It'll be great. If you got a ticket, that's awesome. And if you didn't, hopefully you can steal one on the second wave of however many there might be. The interesting part of all of this is the last paragraph that they have here. It says, even if you can't join us for the World Championship, one final kit is coming to local retailers near you. The Echoes of Destiny kit. It's launching after Worlds, and this kit supports a series of Trilogy sealed tournaments, as well as a special tournament that will provide participants with one copy of every card and die from Wild Horizons, the unreleased 10th set of dice and cards for Star Wars Destiny. And they'll have more information to share about that in the coming months. So, how do we feel about Echoes of Destiny kit?
I mean, it's great if it actually makes it, though.
Yeah, I almost feel like this is like a situation you don't want to...
Because that's a lot of cards and dice, so you got to get to going for a kit, and like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially if it's a starter kit, right? And starters are involved. it's definitely one of those things where I'm sitting there and I'm just like, that sounds amazing, but is that definitely happening?
Yeah, it sounds almost like it far outstrips their capabilities of delivering things. They can't deliver kits with mats in them.
Yeah, they can't deliver actual sets. They can't deliver sets with mats. How are they going to deliver a kit with, if you're going off what like Legacies was, that was 180 cards.
Yeah.
On top of all the dice in there. So yeah, it just seems like a big undertaking. It seems like OP is trying to do us a favor for that, and I appreciate that. But I'm hesitant to get excited just yet.
I mean, we don't know. I mean, it could be a kit that one of the problems with the kits is that they tend to be unevenly distributed. So some stores will get 50 of them, and some stores will get none. And we don't know how much the kits are going to cost. They could cost a fair penny. This could be FFG's way of trying to like make the development cost back on the set, because obviously the set was already developed.
Yeah.
So it could just be the case of they started printing and then Covert Missions was delayed, or maybe they had issues printing and they have like a short printed batch and they just want to get it off their hands. Like there is zero way where there's zero way in which this is just like FFG giving us this stuff.
Yeah,
it's either going to cost us, or it was either stuff they were already stuck with. They're not making it just to like be nice.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I also feel like it was probably somebody pushing towards that. I gotta know. Yeah. Like you said, I think it was probably a world of wanting to recoup costs and them trying to figure out the best way to do that, and this is probably it for them. So, I don't know. That's interesting, and I mean, I'm excited for it in the sense that it's been mentioned previously that set 10 is an exciting set for Destiny, and so it's like one of those, I guess, bittersweet things. We're happy we're getting it, but I wish it would have been like a Destiny set, boxes, and guaranteeing that it's very easy for people to get them. I mean, we play in my basement every week. We don't really have like a local game store, so that presents the issue of how do we get it? And there might be people out there who also don't attend a local game store consistently, but they mostly buy boxes from Team Covenant or Artificery or, Game Shop of Destiny, whatever it might be, where they're ordering singles from as well. And you have to imagine if this is short printed or there's early arrivals for certain places, like the price of this might be insane to get like a play set of it. Because you got to go to 2 events. I don't know what just happened there. I just went out. That was fun. But I was saying, you got to go to 2 events to get a full playset.
Yeah, or just have buy a kit from a store.
That too. Yeah.
Or on eBay. I mean, if it's not like drastically short printed, then it'll at least be hopefully available. But like Flockton said earlier, like if we get it, we get it. If we don't, then I'm not hinging any of my plans on this existing or not.
Yeah, I will say though, it does make me excited. Like I know the article come out in January. I have a actual reason to play Destiny through May, early May, not at any high rate, but at least enough to be like, hey, I'm going to Worlds. I still want to keep up my weekly. We're getting a new set. Like I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
So I have that reason to play. And then post Worlds, like it's exciting that we would get this Echoes of Destiny kit, and still have a reason to even just run like a player run event. Like I've been even talking with Discard to Reroll with Mr. Chip, and we've just been talking about, even before this cancellation happened, we had talked about doing something sometime in May or June, whatever it might be, like for an event. And to me, this is almost exciting in a sense, like, okay, Worlds will be over, but like this is coming out. And if we can time it to where like we can get this set 10 kit in, like that seems like it could be an exciting event with that. So game's dead, but I almost feel like I still have like 6 months of relevant play that I can enjoy consistently. And then after that, it'll almost be like a board game where I'll have it packed away and when I want to play it, I'll play it. But like not, obviously not podcasting too much or going hard into talking about cards because at some point it's all irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's it's just an interesting time. It's interesting that like, as I think the Hyperloops and ABG guys said on their cast yesterday, like even if you were of the firm opinion that the writing was on the wall and that Destiny was on its way out, this is more abrupt than you may have expected, even worst case scenario.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought the writing was on the wall in terms of the game coming to an end, like, shortly, but I still thought we had 2020 to enjoy the year. I thought we would have had a Worlds in October still.
I thought worst case scenario was like, all right, well, according to the leaks from the playtesters, set 10 was done. So I was like, all right, worst case scenario, that's the last set. And somehow it even got more quickly to us than that.
Yeah.
It's kind of nuts.
Yeah, it makes you think that this decision was made quite some time ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell, like, when the decision was made here. And, there's a lot of, like, people trying to decide, like, we're trying to, postulate, like, reasons behind it, because obviously FFG is not going to tell us. Because, it is a weird circumstance, because typically speaking, FFG games that have been canceled, they've fallen into two camps. One, they are, for all intents and purposes, already dead. Like, they've dwindled down to nothing. They're just, you can tell, like Imperial Assault. Imperial Assault's just not there. A few of their other LCGs were like that. Even like LCGs like Game of Thrones, like, yeah, they like have their really hardcore community, but like it's basically the equivalent of if Destiny was just like 4 of the podcast and that was the only people that played, rather than like a larger group there. And then on the other flip side, you had games that still had decent showings. We're talking about like Netrunner, and they got canceled because the license got pulled. So if you're looking at like the two ways that games typically die with FFG, you'd probably err and say, well, Destiny has still a big showing. I mean, we just had a Worlds that was the biggest event FFG had run that wasn't for X-Wing. Event-wise, we're still having like fairly decent showings for things. So you'd err on the side of saying like, well, maybe the license got pulled. But then you also have to look at the fact that we have like 2 big expansions coming out for Armada and Legion into the Clone Wars, and FFG just got licensing for the Marvel games, which is coming from the same source as Star Wars. So then it's like, all right, well, that doesn't make sense. So it just seems like it was the case that they couldn't make any money on Destiny.
Yeah, it had dropped down to the point, like, it almost cost them, like, for Destiny, the cost of, like, a miniatures game, but they had to sell it like a CCG.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, like, the price point of the game, it's sold at a relatively equal price point to, like, any other card game, but it has to cost more to make. Those dice have to, compared to, like, a pack of Pokemon, we're short 5 cards and we get a dice that has, a good detailed picture on it and isn't like just a sticker and doesn't really wear off with weird QA or QC problems notwithstanding. But like that has to cost more than just 5 more cards, and the box being 7 times as large as your average CCG box has to cost more to ship.
Yeah,
and and then it's a licensed product, so there's that margin too. So it's like, what volume did FFG have to sell in order for this game to be profitable? And is it the type of situation where like it should have never been made because there was no way that it was ever going to sustain that level of sales?
Yeah, and it's almost it feels like one of those things where the greatest part about this game was the dice, but it was also the downfall to it. Like I can't imagine this game being as like rewarding or as exciting if we're all playing with like D6s.
I mean, people have been like, well, why didn't they just do this or whatnot? And then everybody that's like, have you ever tried to proxy dice doing that? Like, you cannot keep track of everything.
Yeah, like I love
our nice, snappy 25-minute games would take like an hour and a half because you'd have to be setting aside each dice and like, all right, this is that Ray dice and that's this Ray dice and this is
Yeah. Like I can't. I credit to them. But like Dice Commandos and Garbage Rollers, like a few times they've proxied stuff. But if they don't like actually proxy where they get their own sticker and put it over like in one of the actual Destiny dice, like I just can't watch it. Like I can't sit there and watch them roll out D6s. Like I can barely tell what's going on. I don't have to constantly sit there like, oh, that's a 4. Let me count down 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's a shield side. Like I just don't care. And I don't think the game would last long in doing that. I do think this game has like a lifeline through TTS because you can easily make cards and then you can easily make the dice on there and still have like what we love of these dice, but not have like the D6.
I think you could make like because obviously we're probably going to talk about it later. Player committee, if that exists, they'll create cards, and I think if they did small enough sets, or specifically small enough sets in regards to like the dice cards, you can custom sticker dice.
Yeah, like you could just put like a generic one melee on something.
You could put a generic one melee, or you could do a very, very generic like signifier, like this is that person's dice. I think that would probably be. I mean that is the route rather than doing D6s. That's nobody's going to want to play that game. That's going to make this game mature.
Yep, and even then, I do have to say, and this could just be me, but I'm even still less excited if I just had a red die with like dice sides on it. Like there's just such a charm of this game of rolling out Vader and just seeing the 4-for-1 pop up with like his face next to it.
I mean the dice are very cool. They're very high high quality novel product.
Yeah.
It's what set the game apart from Dice Masters, because that was the like original comparison people had. And I just remember like the first Gen Con, every time someone went up to the demo table, the first thing they did was they started scratching at the picture on the dice because they honestly thought it was like a sticker that could be peeled off.
Yeah. They're to me they're just a core part of the game, and not even just in the randomness of the dice, just how amazing, like the quality of them were.
Yeah, it's a look to it, and
yeah,
like a lower quality look may detract. It just may be the thing that people are like, well, I really don't want to. I don't want to pull them out today because it doesn't have the same rewarding feel to it.
Yep. So with that, you mentioned, and actually, as we're podcasting right now within the Destiny group, Lanza from Entourage Gaming and Agent of Zion from Artificery, they're the two really heading up Star Wars Destiny Continuing Committee. I believe they posted in the Discord. They're having some issues with the link. It's looking like
they're having some things.
But if you're interested in that is starting up. It seems like they're looking for people to go into a few different roles of design, communications, production, playtesting, things like that, as a community to keep it going. And I'm hesitant of the idea of a player committee, but seeing who's in there, I do have some confidence in that this can be continued in a way that still feels the core of the game. And the fact that you have like Zion and Yeti involved in that as well,
because they've done a big part organizing events.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
they already have like
LVO to
one foot in the door to what you would need to get a continuing living game going moving forward.
Yeah, and it's certainly, again, it's a drawback of like we could see Destiny move on to like a full online game with like maybe 1 or 2 big events a year. But like, again, just the fact that they have the Artificery League already as something that they can start up and do TTS and all those things, as long as Disney doesn't get involved and see what they're doing. But we'll see how that plays out.
We kind of brush on that real quick, but it is what it is. You just do it until they, come at you with the Disney letterhead cease and desist.
Yeah. But
don't be scared of Disney. They got nothing.
They got nothing.
From the mouth of babes.
But yeah, so that's what Worlds is coming up. Go over Missions, the last set, and we got Echoes of Destiny to give us Wild Horizons as we ride out into the sun.
And the plus side is with the set 9 Worlds and set 10, it does give a continuing committee time to sort things out, because there's going to be people that are interested in doing that are not going to. It's it's like the type of thing. Anytime you're trying to do a cooperative collaboration type thing, there are going to be people that are really interested in doing it, but don't have a skill set, don't have the dedication, or don't get along with everybody else. So it's going to take some time for like that to shake out, and and it needs to. You have to like kind of figure out exactly who's going to end up being involved in that, and that's not going to be everyone that's initially interested.
Yeah, I mean, they probably had like September, I feel like, would be the earliest they really need to feel like they do anything, right? You could give June and July for Wild Horizons to come out, assuming it comes out at that time frame. But yeah, they definitely have time.
They have some time, so it's a plus side that they don't immediately have to do anything, because you do have the issue of like once people move on, it's just less likely to move back. That was the same thing with why it was like, all right, Yeti Games isn't running anything for Star Wars Destiny. That gives me a real sense of dread about Star Wars Destiny, because they're not likely to like then all of a sudden start running events.
Yep. And it all makes sense now why they stopped, because Destiny was supposed to be dead in October.
Yeah, perhaps. Or maybe, FFG's like, yeah, Destiny's just not a priority for you right now, so don't worry about it. And, on the back end, they're like, yeah, it's not a priority for us anymore because we're killing it.
Yep. Yeah, all right. I mean, that's the update of Destiny. It's tough. It definitely hit me real hard.
Game dead.
Because of that. And, it's been obviously a big part of my life, doing content creation and going to events, being at Worlds, doing Nova, traveling for this game, which is not something I've ever done before for any tabletop game or card game or anything like that. But yeah, from that, I figured we could share some of our favorite moments from Destiny. So, originally I put the general one first, but we'll do the general one at the end in case there's overlap. But I want to ask you guys, what has been your favorite event that you've ever gone to for Destiny?
Favorite event. Favorite event.
Is it my house? My basement?
Definitely not. No, probably my favorite event was the first Kappa Cup.
First Kappa Cup? Yeah.
Yeah, I got third place. My first time making top cut.
Yeah.
It was funny because it was trilogy, right?
No, that was standard.
Okay, yeah, it was standard. Yeah, I was torn between Snowcad Bane or DJ Talzin, which I was just messing around with. And then I texted Shane. Shane says, go DJ Talzin. So I was like, all right, I did it. And then ended up doing really well.
I bet if you didn't listen to Shane, you probably would have won the event.
Every time I listen to Shane, I do something, though. Because last time I listened to Shane, I got second place at the one regional with the Kylo Phasma. I should start listening to Shane.
You got second in Virginia without listening to him.
That is true.
Yeah, so.
I don't think it's him. Don't give him credit, dude.
Yeah.
You did this.
So Kappa Cup, first time?
Yeah, first time top coding. That was a lot of fun.
Scott, what about you? What's your favorite event?
Actually, probably PAX Unplugged. That first one with like the giant GQs, it was the first, with the spot glosses, and we had like three big 100-person events. That was pretty awesome, especially because like I got to walk to.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, PAX Unplugged was good. Kappa was good too. Man, for me,
I didn't get to go to Worlds for Destiny just because it always, with them shifting the schedule around, came at like really inopportune times for me.
Yeah, I lucked out with that. Well, it was funny because in 2019 I lucked out because I was getting married May the 4th, which is what it was, but then they pushed it back to October, but then I had a family emergency, so I had to leave. So Worlds has actually been good timing until this year. Because now it's, like I said, I got married May the 4th. So my anniversary is that Monday.
You'll be back for it.
Yeah. So my wife was great about that anyways. She's like, it's May 1st to the 3rd.
I bought her socks. She better be.
You're like, I'll buy her more socks if she lets you go.
That's what I do. I bribe all of my friends' wives to let their husbands play with games with me.
They're gonna say play with me.
Maybe just Tommy plays with you. I play board games with you. But yeah, no, she was great with that. She pushed me to go. She's like, look, like, you'll be back for that day. We can celebrate the next weekend. Like, go. It's the last one. And then she also was like, honestly, I'm happy the game's ending, not because of the amount of time that you put in, but because they always seem to schedule events at like the worst times for us. So like I said, like Worlds is now our anniversary. When it got pushed to October, it was on her birthday. So it's like these things. She's like, I feel like
they do
FFG
not
hates
like
it.
Carrie. No, they do not.
No. So she's excited from that aspect of it to be over. But she was great and let me go this year. So I'm stoked for that. Favorite event? I mean, I feel like the generic answer is Worlds 2018. I mean, it was fun. The events, the meetup, everything, the people. And I also had a personal really good finish. I finished top 16 that year. So, I mean, that was really good. But I'm actually going to go with Rochester Prime that first year before Worlds. So I guess it was 2018. But that was like my first big event. I think that was my first Prime or regional. Basically anything above a store champ. I didn't make it to PAX Unplugged that year because I think I'd worked that weekend. So this was like my first big thing. I actually learned a lot player level wise. Meeting people was just really fun. Obviously, I got to meet Mr. Chip that weekend. I got to meet Alan that weekend. I dragged Brian.
Now it's the worst weekend. Now,
Now
you're like, oh my god, I regret everything about it. It has turned my life into a misery from which I cannot escape.
There's just pee jars all over my house from Alan shipping me. But that was good, and I ended up coming ninth at that. But that was like it was just a really good learning experience as a player. There were some mistakes that I made that I quickly learned how to beat, and it was just really fun to kind of meet everybody and do like my first larger event that wasn't a store championship like that. That was really good, and that was just like spontaneous. It was fun. We got the good story of like leaving to make that 8-hour drive at like 9 at night, getting there at like 2 a.m. We got denied by a hotel because their computer system wasn't working. The next one we go to, the room they give us, we go upstairs. There's like pants on the floor, and the kitchen's full of like dishes and stuff. We're like, yeah, I think this room's occupied, but the door was open, so we don't really know what's happening. And eventually we get a room and we sleep for 3 hours, and then we go and play Destiny the next day, and then we drive home. But that was great. That was a lot of fun. I think that might be one of my favorite, most memorable events. But I mean, all of them have really been good. Like the most disappointing part we talked about with this game is like I'm losing a part of my life in a sense of like going to events with everybody, seeing people, having friends like through this game was a blast. So never forget Nova arguing with Brian at 2 a.m. about EMP versus Stout. Never forget that.
I'd never forget having to like weigh in on that stupid conversation.
Yeah, because you and Tommy came in talking about that too. Yep, I remember. Tommy was still in the game at that point, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, Tommy actually technically did not miss any sets. Tommy was still playing.
Yeah, that's sad.
When the last set released.
I don't know the last time I played with Tommy, so that's sad. Oh, FFG, you wonderful, amazing being.
You just don't like his kids apparently, and you won't go play with them. So
apparently. All right. So what's been your guys' favorite deck? What's been your favorite Star Wars Destiny deck across any meta?
Go ahead, Flock.
I'll go first.
DJ Towson.
No, it's actually not. This is like when I first. No, doesn't have.
I didn't back it. Towson.
Nope. Wrong.
It doesn't have Admiral Towson. Oh my gosh, I'm excited.
No, it was when I first started playing. Went to a weekly and Nismo Joe was there, and he was playing like Yoda Padawan Mill.
Oh no, Yoda.
Not
Partisan.
Partisan.
Yeah.
Partisan. 2 Partisans and Yoda Mill, and I was playing Phasma Boba Fett, and I was 0-3. He was 3-0, and for some reason the pairings got messed up where I the 0-3 got paired up with a 3-0, for whatever reason, and he was playing Mill, and I was able to beat him when I was 0-3. He was 3-0, and that was like one of my first like actual wins because I was still when I was really new to the game.
Yeah,
and everything, and it felt amazing, like beating him. And yeah,
but then you let Shane win the tournament.
Yeah, because that Shane ended up winning the tournament. He shows up to one tournament and then just wins every single time he shows up. But yeah, that's probably one of my most memorable moments. And remember Joe just being like, he wasn't even upset. He just looked up. He goes, "That was a great job." wasn't even upset. He was actually proud that I beat him. It was awesome.
Joe was always a good teammate.
Yeah, he really was.
Scott, what was your favorite deck?
Probably the Kylo version of the FN deck that Tommy and I ran at the first Gen Con, just because it was obviously leveraging an overpowered character in FN. That was, the big story of that Gen Con, but using Kylo at a time when he wasn't viewed as a good character because he really wasn't a good character. But since you were playing against either a lot of FN decks or a lot of Pomaz decks, his special actually was really relevant because at any given time there was 3, 4s, and 5s in your opponent's hand, and that level of damage output at that point in the game was like crazy.
And that's Kylo 1 in case anybody was... Because I know Kylo 2 FN was the deck as well, but you're talking Kylo
started. I'm talking. This was 3 wide. It was like
First Order
Stormtrooper, FN, and Kylo. So it was basically like a different version of the FN 3 wide, the Rainbow FN.
Yeah.
And it was just, you could do a lot of like brutal things, and you sack FN, you move all the weapons over to Kylo, and then Kylo swings in with those specials that deal damage based on like the cards you're pulling out of your opponent's hand, and your opponent's got a Falcon in the hand, and you just smash them for like 10 damage on a reset, and they win. And you're like, oh, that worked.
That worked. Yeah, I remember. Nice. I remember that. I remember that was peak Tommy at that point of being into this game.
Well, it's prior to Tommy having kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, so, totally understandable.
So he was able to devote all of his energy into just like he played that deck. I kid you not, I did not play that deck until that Gen Con. I had not actually had it, like I was not the one to pilot it until that Gen Con. And I think I got eliminated on like strength of schedule. It was how many times I had played that deck that it didn't matter that I had never touched it myself.
Yeah, I think he had close to 400 games with that deck.
And he cataloged them all, and it was like hilarious. I think I was like the only person with a positive win rate with him, and it was only because like an initial version of the deck had like a fatal flaw that he was able to correct. And I forget what it was.
That was how the Pepe Silvia from Always Sunny started, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he had a room in his house. He had like a game room in his house, and there was just a whiteboard with like things written on it, and it didn't make sense to anybody but him.
Yep. Man, those were the good old days. I miss that.
Mm-hmm. When you can get him going, you can get him going.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I told him, I was like, hey Tommy, go look at the next set, just like on the side. Don't tell Nicole. Just look at it. Just
look at it. Give us a hint.
You don't need to buy it. Nobody's buying any of it.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody's buying. I'll probably have extras, so he can he can have some of them.
He doesn't need to play them. Just look.
But in the time frame where we thought Covert Missions was going to be at LVO, I can't tell you how much I missed having Tommy on our team. Because he's so good at identifying the early like combos.
Here's what he does. He's got children, or he is sitting on the toilet and pooping. He just makes decks. Good, bad, ugly. They're there at least, and you have something to work with.
Yeah. I know. I was trying to comb through
sat there and thought about all the numbers that can add up to 30.
Yep. I know. I was sitting there. I was like, all right, what deck do I make? Where do I start?
I do not make decks. I make decks on like, if I ever make a deck, I'm making it on the drive there, but I don't like make decks normally.
Yeah. Did I answer this question?
No.
I don't think I did.
You're going to say Sabine. It's Sabine. We know the answer. It's Sabine.
Yeah, Sabine, or I didn't play it much at all, but I had a blast in like the 10 games I played Pomaz. I'm a degenerate. It's fine.
One of my favorite decks was like the Awakening set Poe Ray, because it was just fun to throw like you threw force abilities at people. You just threw like Jedi Force Ghosts and Mind Extraction.
Yep. So my original favorite deck was Han Rey. Like that was the deck that I probably had most success with. I got like second at a store championship early on in playing Destiny, and that Han has a near and dear spot to my heart. With playing him, but I got crushed by Poe Ray, who like did post special for to throw Way of the Force at me or whatever that Obi-Wan card was.
Way of the Force.
Yeah,
Force goes to Obi-Wan.
Yeah, for 3 focus to turn like Force throw and like 2 other things as specials, and then he like threw a Han 3 at me and then did more damage, and I was like, oh, okay, good game. Enjoy the trophy.
It was the type of, like that deck was like, all right, you put Force throws on Rey and then you just throw everything else. And yeah, it would get kind of stupid when you'd start throwing things for focus sides.
Yeah. That was a blast. But Pomaz was fun too, because just action cheating and throwing Falcons at people. It was like the only time I ever played Falcon, so part of that kind of factored into it.
Remember the charity event you played that as well?
Yeah, it was the charity event where you could like pay money to increase your point team like 32, so then Pomaz worked or whatever.
Yeah.
And I played that, and I think I went undefeated until I think somebody just dropped $20 to kill Poe. That was like one of the things you could do since.
Well, you played me. I was trying to kill Poe and I couldn't, and I think I just dropped 20 to kill him. But I still lost somehow. I still lost. But like he was like 2 health from dying. I was like, all right, nope, I'm not gonna kill. I'm not gonna win. So I just killed him with $20.
Yeah.
I still lost. So I was still sad.
Yeah, man, that was a fun tournament. That was a good.
That was actually really fun.
I obviously like Trolley Black 1 decks. Those are great.
Yeah, Big's Poe AR.
Or even like when it was like Hera, Ewing, Reckless Reentry, and it was just like, how much damage can I wipe my opponent in the first turn if I get the exact 5 cards I need and they don't touch my dice ever?
One can hope.
Yeah. If you're left alone, you can do some crazy things.
Yeah. All right, we talked about favorite event, favorite deck. Do you just have any favorite overall memory of Star Wars Destiny that you didn't talk about from your favorite event or deck?
Bobby Sapphire, just the fact that Kowalski hates him more than Kowalski hates me is one of the most impressive things ever.
That was at PAX 2018, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it's just I would have never expected that, and just he's just a Magoo, that guy.
Like I feel honored that Mike came up to us.
just boiling over laughing, just doubled over laughing. It took him like 5 minutes to compose himself to tell us what had just occurred.
It was like me, Tommy, and John Williams standing there. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Hey, I know you guys. I know your feelings about Kowalski. So this just happened." It's like, oh my gosh.
Well, that's because we were using Joe Baiocchi as like a shield the entire time. Like, hey Joe, come over and stand with us, and he wouldn't come near us.
Remember those days?
Yeah, good old days.
Flock, you got a favorite just general memory of Star Wars Destiny?
Not entirely, but just miss playing Destiny with Shane in like my basement and stuff like that. And Shane stopped playing. Yeah. But I think the one time when I first got into it, I just missed playing with Shane in the basement just like for fun, you know. He'd just bring over like stupid decks for me to play.
I remember playing this game with a girl I dated, and she got really mad when I attached like Way of the Force to a Padawan, and then she killed the Padawan, and then I was like, oh yeah, now I have a Jedi Ghost that's like helping me out, and she's like, well, how can I kill the Jedi Ghost? I'm like, you can't. She just really was not happy about the idea that she could not murder the Jedi Ghost.
I thought you were about to be like, yeah, and then I played like FN or I played the Hyperloop deck, and she couldn't play the game, and she got really mad.
No, I'm pretty sure like it was first set, so she might have been playing like Django Veers.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that card got cut pretty quick, the Obi-Wan support.
Yeah.
So that had to be like set 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I mean, it's got to be something similar to Flock. Like, man, I miss all the King's Men basement tournaments. Like, we were getting up to like, I don't know, 12 to 15 people there weekly, and like, I just really enjoyed all the people that were there too. Like, I still remember going, and first time I went, I was like 0-3, and then like, I show up the next week after playing a bunch of games with like Shane or something, and I go like 2-1. And
I remember even Carrie playing.
Yeah, Carrie came to a few events
and getting like scary with
Base Moss.
What it was like? Yeah, a Base Moss. Yeah. Just action cheating. And it's like, she might roll me off the table here.
Yeah, she as soon as It's a Trap got nerfed, I think that's why she quit the game. She's like, how dare they touch my Base Moss deck? I'm done. Yeah.
Damage.
That was that was good, and that was awesome. And like, I just remember how supportive the community was when I got into the game, and like, I got to meet a lot of people that I didn't know before, like through that, and yeah, it was just blast. And Steve, the store owner, was a quirky guy, but I liked him, and it was, yeah, I don't know. If I could pick any moment for like Destiny community to stick around, it's really got to be that like first year in the basement playing Star Wars Destiny. Yeah.
So you're talking like set 3, set 4.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my most vivid memory of that is probably Spirit. I think is when that was at its peak. And it might have still gone through that, but like I remember that time of like Tommy.
We were still getting a lot of people for Empire at War.
Yeah, and it might have lasted through that, but like I just specifically remember Tommy testing his deck, and I don't know, it just being
taking out that little notebook.
Yep, I remember that. I remember in pure test games, I could never beat him with Qui-Gon Ray, but the second we played an official game, even at weeklies, I would beat him. I play Blue Hero centered around shields, and then we would play in the tournament, and his bottom 2 cards would be both Vibra Knives. Mm-hmm. Like that legitimately happened. I was like, oh, that was a good cut.
And a deck that entirely relied on Vibra Knives to deal with shields.
Yep. But yeah. I mean, it's tough. It stinks. We're losing the game, but Golden Dice, at least, we're planning to cover through May, and we'll.
Oh yeah, I guess we hadn't even talked about that.
Yeah. We'll reassess what we look like post Worlds when we get there. We'll be having some conversations. Like we said, we did add some new people, the GDP North crew, and just kind of.
God, that's such terrible timing.
Yep, certainly is.
I'm sorry for having a birthday.
It was Flocktomism. He killed it. And it was his birthday yesterday, so that was his birthday present. Was a dead game.
I was so optimistic. I was like, all right, guys, let's wait until the organized play comes out with their update, whatever. Like, let's not say game's dead yet until they come out and they tell us like what's going on. And then they literally, yep, we're done. Like,
game's dead, literally.
Game's dead. It's like, okay, yep, sweet.
Look, it's way better than what the worst case scenario to me, other than like obviously, it would have been worst case scenario if like, we're releasing covert missions or not releasing covert missions, and then that's it. That would have been worst case scenario. But I was really worried with that OP announcement we were going to get. All right, we're going to do some primes, and then Gen Con, and then a Worlds. And I'm like, that's like at any time you could pull the rug out from us with like that non-committal schedule. Yep. So I was happy that it wasn't that type of thing, because that's exactly what I feared it was, and that would have been in line with like the stuff that Alex Watkins was trying to like feed us about, Worlds splitting off from X-Wing to be in line with Destiny's OP for the year.
Remember when we got 2 store championships a year? That was fun.
Yeah. Were we supposed to get 2 sets of primes?
I don't remember primes, but I remember.
I don't remember anything that FFG promised. All I know is I now have a Mr. Bones mat and it's the first one I've ever seen.
I hate you.
Yeah, so when did they come out with the organized play thing where they started announcing like the new changes to it, where they came out with the new names of the store championships and the new primes, and they pushed Worlds back from May to the next.
I mean, this is the first set of primes that we've had.
Yeah, but like remember they came out with that? I think it was like around December time or something like that.
Might have been.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. It all blends together because there's so many delays.
They're like some new person took over organized play, and they're like, we're doing all these changes. Bear with us. And then like it feels like they got halfway through that and are like, yeah, I don't think we can do this.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's definitely frustrating. Like I said, I am leaving this situation frustrated at FFG, and also a low opinion of how Alex handled this. I don't know.
It's so funny, like the Mr. Bones mat, like the Mr. Bones play kit, that still isn't officially announced, right? Because didn't someone come out and say it's not officially announced, but like still some stores have it, some people have it.
I know it exists. I own one.
Yes, it exists.
5 feet away from me. But yeah, there's just been a lot of weird things that have occurred, and so this is pretty much the fitting finish to it.
Yeah. I mean,
the fitting finish to Destiny is they designed a set that they're not even going to make that we may or may not get as prize support for events after the game is dead.
Yeah.
That is in keeping with what has occurred.
It's in the spirit of the game.
Yep.
All right. I mean, any other thoughts on the game ending?
It's really hard to write a top and bottom article because, like, you know, you're talking about like cards that are like good and like that's easy to do, but then you're talking about cards that are bad and like kind of like missed opportunities in design. And I'm like, well, what am I writing this for? They're not designing any more cards.
Yeah, because a lot of cards you'd be like, all right, well, I can see in the future if they do like go this route, these cards can become better or something like that. It's like, nope.
Yeah,
this is what we have. This is what This is what we get. This is all.
And now it's just going to be like, hey, player committee, just knock like 4 points off of Anakin Skywalker, just first thing, just 3 to 4 points, just right off the top.
So do you think there'll be potential
or bump some people's points up too?
Yeah, well, but that was gonna be my question. Like, I wonder if in the build up to Worlds, like,
do you think there's going to be an RRG where? No, I don't think so.
I mean, because like, right timeline. This comes out February. Say Joe already comes out with the most broken deck. Like,
he's not gonna. I mean, it's we're not gonna have proof positive that it's broken until there's an event.
Yeah. Well, I guess some primes depends on February. When in February?
Yeah. I mean, it's just no. I don't think we're getting another RRG for this. I think the continuing committee. I think that would probably be among the first thing they do is to like
fix those issues.
Make Anakin a 15, 16 point character. Make whatever that Sin. Whatever. What is that guy's name? The yellow hero legendary.
Sinjir.
Yeah, he is one of the most garbage cards they've ever made. Like, you got to knock like 4 points off him. He should be like a 13, 14 point character maybe.
Yeah, he's 17.
Ugh. Yeah, there's a lot to be excited with this set, and then there was also things that I was like looking at and trying to do our top bottom article, and I'm like looking and I'm like, Villain has so many more dice cards in this set than Hero. Then I was even looking further. I'm like, Hero has 2 upgrades total. Everything else is supports. I'm like, that's kind of a problem when you've put in, a fair bit of vehicle and support hate into this set and previous sets.
Yeah, and villains run around with like DM.
Yeah, and you're basically like, oh nope, the only things that we're going to give red hero and yellow hero are more vehicles, because that's they have no upgrades that have dice, which is weird. Yeah, really weird. But German doesn't have to care anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at all.
Nope.
All right. I mean, so we didn't. I mean, it's like Friday is when the set dropped of the spoilers, and then Tuesday we obviously got the article about the game. So I mean, I don't know if Scott and Flock are on the same page as me, but it's like I want to talk about this, but it's also hard to be motivated to critically think about anything in that sense. Now, currently, I mean, I think as World starts to come around, I'll start to care. I have LVO next week.
I have some, obviously, I just kind of blurted out some thoughts about some of the undesirables of the set.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then there's other things that are. It seems like a set where I'm glad I wasn't purchasing that many boxes of it to begin with, and I'm glad I'm not purchasing that many boxes of it, because it just seems like a set that, like, if I was buying boxes for a discontinued game and I got a box that was like Anakin, Sin Djarin, Magna Glove, Jetpack, I would I don't know if I could take that.
Yeah. Well, it's all right. I mean, any other thoughts? We can start to talk about CM a little bit. You guys have any other thoughts on just the end of OP, end of Destiny before we move on?
They should have given us more than a day's notice for Worlds. I don't know what they were thinking about that. That was dumb. But that's,
Yeah, that grinds
last dumb act.
Literally, people are buying tickets just because, okay, I want to go, but I don't know if I can. You just buy a ticket now.
Yeah, it's a you don't want to have, don't make people make travel arrangements in like a 24-hour span of time.
People have that's so garbage.
Yeah. You didn't need to do
I'm
that.
lucky because I could do it like on a whim back. I have the time off from work. I just got to put in the thing and I can get it off. I'm lucky, but yeah, a lot of people aren't lucky, and there's a lot of people that want to go, and it's like, well, I have 4 months to figure out plans. Some people already have plans prior for that weekend,
Well, I mean, that's going to happen. Like 4 months is more than enough notice for things, but it's the fact that you had to buy a ticket less than 24 hours later.
Yeah, people who have
before
wives
you've
and
even
kids.
processed the game is getting discontinued, you need to decide if you're spending $54, whether you just eat that $54 later or whatever, like that's just a silly thing. And they could have just been like, all right, tickets are going to go on sale in a week. People have the same amount of notice that the event exists. It's not going to affect FFG any to like wait 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. It just was a weird thing. And it was like, great. Yep. One last hurrah of really weird decisions that is just inconvenient to your community.
Yep. All right. We'll move on. On that note,
let's go.
Covert Missions coming out February sometime.
New set.
If anybody's interested, Late Night Gaming does have proxies for all the cards currently. So if you do want to play with this set, it's available on TTS for you right now. So shout out to Late Night Gaming guys. They post in the Facebook group and they have their Discord that you can join through that. So definitely do that. But yeah, we normally go through the set. We'll do like the draft type questions and what you're excited for, things like that. But I figured for tonight we could just focus on legendaries and then shout out any rares that you guys are excited for as well. But yeah, I mean, we could just kind of start from that point because there was a lot to process because it wasn't like previously where we got like, I guess we got the same amount of articles, but like the fact we got all, 2/3 of the set all in one drop from FFG, which I will say thank you to Matt for like sticking true to that.
Yeah.
They didn't have to. It would have been bad if they, with the delay and then they delay that as well. But, I'm glad that they still kind of stuck to that and we got the whole set. So we'll talk legendaries first. So we have 17 of them this set. I'll read through all of them in case people haven't put it all together just yet. But we got Anakin Skywalker. We have Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber. We got Boba Fett, Darth Bane, Deathfield, Director Krennic, Ghost, Harrison Dula, Magna Glove, Poe Dameron, Rebel Hanger, Sheehan Mastery, Sinjir, Sith Lord, Slave 1, the Duchess, and the Z6 jetpack. Flock, what did you call the Duchess? DeLorean?
Dolores.
Yeah. He's like, no, that new red villain card, Dolores, it looks really good. I was like, the Duchess? He's like, no.
No, Dolores.
All right, so just first reactions of this legendary set, what is one that you're excited to play with? Whether it's competitive or not, doesn't matter. Just something that you are hoping, a character you're hoping to get elite, or, a card you're hoping to get two of to slot in your deck. Scott, you got any? You excited
about the Dolores?
Flock's excited about Dolores.
Krennic's amazing. I mean, any like legendary character that's at a low point cost with like a unique die side and that like 2 discard is a pretty unique thing you don't see on a lot of characters. They did pretty good. Hera on the contrast is not as exciting principally because her ability is kind of lost given the vulnerability to what you would want to reset with her, which is a vehicle with some mods to DM. But Poe, I'm pretty excited for Poe. I think if his ability can be leveraged, making everything a crate speeder, like a souped up crate speeder, especially with like some abilities like eject, so you can get extra value to the thing after you've already damaged it, or you can use bucket or something else. I think he's an interesting enough character. I just fear that maybe his die needed like a 3 damage side on it to make it work, but he does have a ton of health, which is good in red because red has a ton of healing right now.
Yeah. Block, what about you? What are some legendaries you're excited about?
I'm excited about Boba Fett and Slave 1.
Yeah.
Doing like some Django Boba Fett with Slave 1. Seems
just
really
have them both pilot, just 2 damage a turn.
Yeah. Because getting 3 money is real easy, I feel like. So if you can get that in your opening hand, drop a Slave 1, both now piloting, and you're doing 2 damages on activation. So, and I think that's something I like that, and hopefully you can do something like building up Django, because obviously you want to kill Boba Fett because once you kill a character, you get to roll in some of the dice back with Boba Fett. So you want to kill him because you want him late game, but also Django can get super beefy and then Bactus and stuff like that. So I think that'll be like a really fun one. I haven't really looked at much of the removal for yellow villain or just yellow in general for the new set, but that's the one thing it's going to be struggling is removal cards. Because all the yellow removals you have to pay for it. There's no free removal.
Yeah,
that's hero or neutral yet.
They got like a new Hasty, which is a little better than Hasty, but
for yellow villain,
for yellow hero,
but not yellow villain or neutral.
No, you said. I thought you said villain or hero.
Yes, I said villain or neutral because the hero has Wolf Cat and all that stuff. Yeah. So,
yeah, solid reprint for hero.
Loth Cat,
Mouse, whatever it's called. That card.
Yeah,
Wolf Cat.
Yeah, Cat Mouse.
I am not excited for whatever that like red villain card is. That's like your opponent draws 2 cards. You look at their hand and you put 2 cards back.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
That's a dumb one. That was a like, why did you print this? This is just gonna have. It has so many ways. It has just like so many ways. It can just basically like neuter your opponent's turn for. Is it 0 cost?
Face the enemy 0 cost. Yes.
Yeah, it's dumb. Like, come on.
Yep, it's. Yeah, there's no spot requirements other than their exhausted character, which is like.
It's such a not requirement, and it's because you're getting to like put 2 cards back. You can screw their turn between like removing their mitigation or removing like their upgrades. You just have so many opportunities to basically like make it so their turn just consists of what you want it to. That it's just a dumb card to have printed because it's just going to lead to a lot of like moments where people are like,
yeah.
And you don't have to do anything to like set up those moments. It's one thing if you got to like corral your opponent into like those blowout ridiculous plays, but if you just get to do it for 0 cost, it's like that's not much of an effort.
It's like one of those things like Forsaken. It's like, oh, 1 die in the pool. It's tough to pull off in blue villain.
Yeah,
but
it's so hard. 1 die on either side.
Yeah.
However, will I manage?
I'll say for me. For legendaries, I've never been huge on blue villain, but Darth Bane has looked pretty fun on TTS games. He's been pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean,
and Deathfield's just good.
Yeah, Deathfield is one that I'm worried that we're going to go from Delve Fist to Delve Field.
Yeah,
Jeremy seemed to have this like weird soft spot for effects that can just wipe your opponent off the table round 1, and I don't know why. He kept having like a blind spot or a soft spot for that type of stuff.
Blue villain too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's compare Bane to Anakin, and you can tell that there's some level of conscious or unconscious bias in design there, because whether Bane's good or not, he's at least interesting.
Anakin's clearly better. He has a 4-for-1.
Oh my god.
Dude, Bane has a 2 and a 3, dude. Come on.
He has, and then a special that could be 5 for 0. No, Anakin's just the type of thing that like he's kind of boring looking. He's got a 4-for-1, but if you do not resolve his die for a 4-for-1, your turn's terrible.
I would take the 2.
I'm saying if you resolve both of his die just for 2, like if that's all that you get out of him is you resolve 2/2, that's terrible. You need to like resolve like a 4-for-1 and then a 2, or like a 4-for-1 and a research, like something. So you can't get just 4 damage out of your 19-point character.
Yeah. Also,
and he's got no way to protect his dice, and
Anakin,
like we've seen with like Vader, he has a way to protect his dice directly. Palpatine and Bane have like pseudo ways to protect their dice in the fact that they like generate extra dice, with Bane basically getting a free ability or Palpatine getting to roll an ability. So it's like, yes, you might mitigate their dice, but they're putting extra dice in so they can kind of equal that out.
Yeah, and his dice are pretty good at getting around most mitigation. I mean, obviously, if there's like a pay-1 flank type situation, there's nothing you can do about it. But I'm thinking like easy pickings or even entangle. Like he's pretty.
You got to save those. You got to save that removal for the Deathfield or the Xian Mastery.
Yeah, and like you said, multiple dice rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
My other card that I'm excited only because I want to try to see what I can do with it is Rebel Hangar. I don't think it's very good, but I'm interested to try and play that and see how far it can go and what the best combination of vehicles to play would be. Is it a Ghost and a Phantom?
No, it's going to be
2
X-Wings.
crates?
That'll be your third X-Wing because you're going to AR for other X-Wings.
That's yeah. If you can get 3 X-Wings out for a cost of 7, and another die, despite it being a not great die. Obviously, Rebel Hanger's not very good.
It's a okay 2-cost die.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. If you look at it as a 2-cost tutor, you're okay with it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just excited. Like, it's something a little different, a tutor effect of vehicles, and DM is tough, but if you're playing multiple vehicles, it's a little less tough. So
the downside with the X-wing thing is that DM does hurt the X-wings, even though they are resistant to DM. Like the small vehicle thing is more resistant to DM, except for the small vehicles that rely on having 4 of them out.
Yeah, like if you play 2 crate speeders and they DM 1, you're like, that sucks, but I'll move on. If you play 2 X-wings and they DM 1, you're like, all right, here's my 1 range damage.
Yep.
Yeah.
But DM is a card they should have not printed in the form that they printed it.
Yeah.
Not to say you don't want like support hate, but you just made it far too easy.
Yeah. Spot yellow, take the indirect. Very, very easy.
Yeah, because it's always beneficial for you to take the indirect, like compared to letting the person roll out the damage in multiple turns. Yeah, just the type of thing that was like ill thought.
Yep.
Especially because it doesn't like it basically killed the sets mechanic.
Cost of Galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also a shame too, because I feel like mods wouldn't have been as crazy if there wasn't like
the Shadowcaster.
Yeah, and Falcon to an extent, I guess, but even that's harder to pull up. But it's like you change AR to red only, and I feel like it's not as insane.
You didn't have to print a silver bullet that kind of hurts multiple entire archetypes and even makes like certain things like it binds all things not really all that playable. You could have just nerfed the things that you were like, oh, these are a little too powerful.
Yeah. All right, so what do you guys and Scott, I guess I could take a guess as to what you're least excited about, but of these legendaries, what are you guys least excited about?
All of like honestly most of the hero legendaries I'm kind of like, I mean, Ghost and Rebel Hangar are good, but they're not like, I don't see them being like linchpins in a deck the way I would see like a Death Field being a linchpin in a deck. So it's just like maybe some missed opportunities with some of that stuff there, and then you got like Magnet Glove, which is garbage.
Yeah. Flock, what about you? What's something you're not excited for these legendaries?
The Wrath of Velis guy.
Sinjar. Yeah.
Sinjar Wrath of Velis.
He is.
Like, I like the concept, but 17 points for 14-17. Oof.
It's just you read him and you're like, all right, you look 17 points and you look at his die and you're like, it's only got 2 damage sides. One of them is indirect. Like, how does that happen? And then you look at his ability and you're like, I still have to discard cards for this?
Yep.
It's just the type of thing, the more you look at the card, you're like, the only thing acceptable about him is... How many... Is he 12 health?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the only acceptable thing about him.
He's got Scoundrel.
He has Scoundrel. Oh, great. Is it just Scoundrel?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable. At least Anakin has, like, Leader Jedi. He's got 2 things.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sinjar's... Like, the funniest part about it is I almost feel like half the time I want to remove range dice more than not. Because I feel like just the meta
he does have a range side.
Yeah, he doesn't have a range side.
I mean, if it was like 2 melee, 2 range, 2 indirect, it'd be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he would have 3 damage sides. You kind of have to have either 3 damage sides or like some big damage sides if you're that many points.
Yeah, like if you drop the shield for 2 range, piques my... I almost like the discard because then it's like an FU to mill. But yeah, he does not excite me at all.
No, he's terrible.
Yeah.
Everything on the villain side is pretty decent seeming, I think, actually. Like
Boba, Vane, Deathfield, yeah. Krennic is pretty cool. Sith Lord, Slave 1, Duchess. Yeah, I mean, Duchess is least exciting.
All of them you could definitely see putting, like, Sith Lord... Maybe that's just a little too much because you're trying to like compound it with the force abilities. Maybe just too many big things, and it itself is not an ability. But it's a title, so you could, on the promotion thing. What is the card again? I forget.
You are in command now?
You're in command. Yeah, you can do that. So it's like everything on the dark side for their legendaries seems like it ranks between like really good to, yeah, you're going to put this in a deck. Whereas things on the light side are like more in lines of, yeah, you could put this into a deck to like, this is one of the worst cards they've ever made.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that like the neutrals are pretty garbage. Like Sheehan Mastery's good.
Sheehan Mastery is good, but only I don't want to say only in villain, but principally in villain because they can leverage it a little bit more.
Well, yeah, you're looking Palp and you're looking Darth Bane when you when you look at Sheehan Mastery.
Yeah, you're immediately like drawn to the villain ones because there's nothing in hero that specifically like keys off of that type of stuff. Because like you're not playing Sheehan Mastery in like a Jedi Trials deck because you need to put 3 abilities on the stupid thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the other 2, Magna Glove and the Z6 Jetpack, aren't really that impressive.
No, they're pretty bad.
And they're both equipment, so even my mind just goes to Django.
Django, yeah, boy.
Here's the thing that like I think
they Magna Glove on Django. Heck yeah.
I think they missed most with this set that there is no like Wookiee melee weapon.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising. Why not?
Like one, there's no upgrades for red hero or yellow hero, so that's a thing that shouldn't have occurred because it's just a bad idea. But like, there's really like no red sticks, and they introduced two red characters that are like kind of leaning towards sticks.
Yeah, because
they didn't support them at all with the Wookiee Warrior and Tartful.
Yeah, Tartful. I was gonna say was the other. Yeah. Yeah, that's certainly not exciting.
Both lightsabers are good though.
But with Anakin's and
yeah, I mean
Kanan's.
they're not things they're going to put on Wookiees, but at least they're the 2 upgrades that Hero did get that have dice are actually good.
Yeah, really, Kanan's, Anakin's, and that's it for Hero only.
That's literally the only upgrades they got that have dice.
Yeah, that kind of feels weird. And then like villain got like there's decent like Ponkrell's isn't very good, I don't think, but like Vibro
villain got a balance.
Yeah,
they didn't just get all vehicles. They got a balance of like, all right, so you've got Pyre's Blaster, E11, and the Duchess, and the TIE Bomber, and Von Krell. So it's like almost an even split. Whereas, not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I feel is the most overrated card in the set though?
That blue villain upgrade.
Ancient Sith armor.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, people are like looking at it and not realizing the sequence that needs to occur for that to like be worth its costs, because it costs 2. It costs an upgrade slot, which is at a premium on these big characters that you may want to put it on. Like, do you really want to waste an upgrade slot on Darth Bane with Ancient Sith armor?
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, so it's a 2 cost upgrade, meaning you need to block basically 4 damage with it for it to be comparable for what it costs.
Yeah.
All right, it's like, unless you put it on round 1, it's not going to just do that naturally, and then you have to do this thing where it's like, you put that on, then they deal you damage, and then you play in a... Or no, wait. You put it on, and then you play in a... Wait, they deal you damage, and then you play an ability to ready it, and then they deal you more damage. Like, that's not going to happen.
Dude, seems broke. What are you talking about?
So yeah, that's the one that I'm like, people have been like, oh, this is so good on blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is not even... You're not going to play it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what... I mean, I am overly, I would say, excited about this set. There's certainly some things that I'm just like, oh, whatever. But, like, I am excited to try out Commander Pyre. Like, I am excited to play Kanan. I'm excited to play Luke. I'm excited.
Luke is just like, damn, they put a lot of damage sides on a character.
Yeah, 4 damage sides, and then he can also pump the vehicle he's piloting by 1.
Yeah. And he cost 14 points, and you gave Sin, Jar, and blah, blah, blah 2 sides? Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, he's 14 points, 10 health. Character pilot apprentice is what he is. Yeah, so, I mean, he seems good. His X-Wing obviously is very good with him as well. Kaz looks... I don't know. I actually do like Kaz as a character in Star Wars universe. And he seems interesting in mirror matches.
Which guy?
Red Hero. Kazuda Exonia.
Oh, the
naive hotshot.
Yeah, no, he's perfectly fine. He's very aggressively costed. If you're a cheap character, you're gonna find your way into decks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you just think that he's probably directly competing with Hera because you're probably playing like a Spectre deck and you're getting -1 from the plot with her, potentially.
Yeah, I mean,
And at that point, then they're both 8-11, where she's 9-12 at her normal points.
she's better than him if they're equal points.
Yes.
So if you're running all Spectre, you'd rather run her, but you don't really want her in all Spectre. She doesn't really do much in there.
Yep.
But in like other decks where you're just searching for like an 8-point filler or an 11-point filler, and you want red, he's going to be that dude.
Yeah. I mean,
if you want guns. If you don't want guns, you're going to take the Wookiee.
Then you take. Yep.
Broke. Not broke, but like the Wookiee's like the best character in the set for a hero, probably.
Yeah. 8 points. Then you can also just view him as an 11-point character with 1 die, and then you get that plot, which is absurd, I think. Valorous Tribe.
Yeah, you could do it that way. I mean, or just like it's an 8-point character that has 10 health.
Yeah. Either way you slice it, I think he's really good.
Die is good too.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, once he gets a certain amount of damage on him, that die actually gets really good looking.
A 2/2 3-for-1.
Because Chewbacca is so bad, they reprinted his ability on every Wookiee.
Who actually have all resolvable dice sets.
Yeah.
Like no modifiers.
That's kind of funny. Yeah, the Wookiee is the Wookiee's probably the card I'm most excited for from the standpoint of like, this guy fits in everything.
Yep. I mean, there are some stuff that I'm excited for heroes as well. Like I mentioned, Cat. Like I really am excited to try all of these unique supports. Like Kaz with Fireball. Like Fireball, I don't think is great because it could be a pod racer, but it's also 2 costs that has a +3 on it, which could be interesting. Mm-hmm. And like, I do want to try this.
+3 is a dangerous side.
Yeah. And after, I mean, yeah. So the whole thing is, if it rolls a blank, you could really kill yourself late game.
Yeah.
But like stuff like that, and like Sabine with her TIE fighter, and I do want to try Blue Ace as well. There are some stuff that I'm excited about. Like I said, Commander Pyre with his gun and the whole taking battlefield, passing it, and all those things.
I like the TIE Bomber actually.
Yeah, that's especially with Watt. That seems like it could be.
It's like you have like a weird ability where it's like even if you only draw the TIE Bomber, you can like drop the TIE Bomber, get 2 resolves out in a turn. Next turn, resolve it, bring it back to your hand, play it again. That's 5 resolves for 6 resources, and you could do upwards. You could do 20 damage, which is, you'll pay 6 resources for 20 damage every day of the week.
Yep, definitely.
What about you, Flock, other than Dolores?
I mean, we hit almost all of them that are like good or bad.
What's like one card we haven't mentioned that you're just like you've got the giant Flocktomism about?
We haven't talked about Sith Lord.
Oh, the legendary.
Yeah,
you got a giant Flocktomism about Sith Lord.
Yeah, I feel like that's another one that's really good. I mean, you got 3 damage sides, 2 focus, 2 shield, and the special is pretty good for, I would say, a palp build.
Yeah, it definitely lets you leverage those other amazing blue villain abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. I mean, just like
it looks so good for 4. It's like the Admiral, but just does more damage.
Yeah, it's a damage-based Admiral type thing. Damage-based title. Could you imagine if this was an ability though, and you could play this for 2 on Bane?
Oof.
Yeah, that'd be.
Thank you.
Oh, because it'd be like Diception of itself. It's like, oh, you can use this special to trigger Bane's thing, which triggers off of this thing.
Yep. And then you re-roll it, right? Isn't that the thing?
And you re-roll it. Yeah, there's a lot of ways for like big blue villain to leverage putting in giant extra dice over and over again, meaning that like it's going to exhaust your mitigation if you have mitigation. And if you don't have mitigation, like say if they're playing, blue red and they use that event that's going to let them steal all of your mitigation, they're going to deal like 25 damage to you with Death Field round 1.
Yeah.
Or round 2, probably more accurately round 2. That's part of the reason why I'm like, that red villain card just does not rub me the right way from a making the game fun standpoint.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many ways to like do 1 billion damage if you really want to deal 1 billion damage.
Yep. That's everything I wanted to shout out now. I'll say that in general too, I'm excited for a lot of the events that we got. Like I feel like there's several mitigation cards that are
definitely
are good and we'll see play and stuff like that. So I think the set is shaping up to be a good one. It's a shame it's the last one, but I don't know. As of right now, looking at it, I think I'll be okay with this being the last one in terms of power level and funness and stuff. So I hope it delivers on that end.
Mm-hmm.
But
and if it doesn't, then we'll have a players committee that'll just start like slashing point costs on things.
Yeah. Flock is the head of it, so Talzin's going to be a 5-point elite.
Yep.
Oh, dude, let's freaking go, dude.
Aiden will be a 6-point elite.
Aiden's way too high, dude, for her die. 15 points is too much.
Yep, for 3 damage sides. No, she has 2 damage sides.
Two
she has 2
focus.
She has 2, but she has 2 focus side, doesn't she?
Yeah, 2/2/2 focus, discard money, blank, right?
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Any other thoughts on covert missions?
We should address the elephant in the room. Like, what are you gonna do as far as like games moving forward?
Oh, like
beyond
in general?
Destiny.
Beyond Destiny. I'll say personally. So I would like to keep Golden Dice alive. What form that takes, we'll have conversations about it. I'm toying with the idea of being like a general board game type thing. I'm toying with the idea of being like a Star Wars board game type thing. And so it could be, we could come over, we could stream
at Outer Rim all the time.
Yeah, Outer Rim. We could play Rebellion. Like, I wouldn't even mind then streaming like Battlefront, like, for video game, or like, something like Fallen Order.
Shane would actually play that.
Yeah. There's a chance Shane could.
He doesn't have to leave his house. He'll play.
Yeah. So yeah, the idea of changing it over to like Golden Dice Gaming instead of Golden Dice Podcast, and that idea. I'm not interested at all in a new card game in what we have available. Like I'd be open to doing Marvel stuff as well with Champions, but not like, no interest in Magic, no interest in Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever. And I will help support and kind of get out the word of the playtester or the continuing committee, but I don't know how involved I'll be with that. But I definitely want to support it in any way, and we'll be doing content, like I said, through May, and probably for a few months after that, depending on how, like, if people are still viewing videos in July of our weeklies, if we're still having them and stuff, I'll still be more than happy to post them. But as of right now, we're going to continue on through normal through May, and through that we'll have conversations about where Golden Dice will go, and what that just kind of leads to. But I definitely want to keep it alive because I really enjoy doing what I'm doing. Our patrons have supported us a lot in getting equipment to do a lot of this, so I also want to still be putting that to use. It's a thanks to them, and I don't know. We'll see where it goes, but I'm definitely in the mindset of like, hey, I want to continue. Like Shane's trying to drag me into, what's it called, Runeterra?
League Runeterra, yeah.
League of Runeterra. Seems interesting stuff, and like maybe I'll play that on the side, but I don't really see myself getting into like content creation for Runeterra unless it somehow grabs me. But
what is that, the League of Legends card game?
Yeah.
And it's like what's it face, Hearthstone? Like
Kinda,
only
yeah.
online?
Yep. But the cool thing about it is there's no packs you open up.
How do you get cards?
You just you buy the card you want, either pay money or in-game currency. You just, I need that card, I'll get that card. It's all single. I'm pretty sure it's single based or like group based. There's no like Hearthstone where it's like you got to buy 50 packs and open up 50 random packs and then all that stuff.
Dust.
So say you want to play this one deck online, you could just get those few cards, make the deck, and then you're good to go.
Interesting.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. We'll see who stays on board. Obviously, it's open and invite to all you guys to keep playing, but we haven't really talked about that much either, just yet. I'm sure Scott would definitely.
Because this happened yesterday.
Yeah, I just booked a flight, bought tickets, and got a hotel. or Airbnb all in 24 hours, but we haven't talked about that yet. But yeah, I want to continue. We'll see what form it takes. I might dabble into X-Wing a little bit, definitely casually. And Scott and I were talking about doing some Legion, some 500-point Legion.
Mm-hmm.
As that is, if we could get down to a consistent basis of completing a game in like 45 minutes to an hour, like that's great. I don't really want to play Legion where it's a 2-hour game and on a 6x3 and just a big setup. Whereas on my table, I have this giant wooden cutout where I can easily put a 3x3 mat down and play a game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's just where we're at, where my mind is at, and Golden Dice will, of course, be having conversations going forward about that. We're going to take over the side scheme. We're going to destroy them. That's my only goal in life now.
That's a valid goal.
Yeah, take Tommy down.
And a crapshoot. We're coming for you.
Yeah. No. But do you guys
just
have
destroy all joy in Tommy's life?
Yes, exactly. You wanted kids, now focus on them and only them. Do you guys have thoughts? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you guys are. I mean, understand that I do a majority of the podcast, but I don't know. Do you guys have interest in continuing podcasting or content creation, or like what games are you going to move on to? Like, I won't be offended if you tell me right now that you don't want to do content creation animoore.
I don't want to do content creation anymore.
Okay, all right, goodbye.
Okay,
Flockton.
Christ.
I'm going to kick him out. Right click, ban from the server.
Boot. Just give him the boot.
Give me the boot.
I mean, I'm interested to see what's going to come of, like, because presumably FFG still having the card game license, what they're going to do there. It will be a little difficult for me to support another FFG game just with, because this is like the umpteenth FFG game I've played, and the issues just they're not getting fixed. They're just the same. So unless it's like miniatures games where I can deal with the release schedule being like, when it gets here, it gets here. Or non-competitive games where it doesn't like matter as much. It's I know that if they like come out like 3 weeks from now, like, here we're gonna do a new Star Wars CCG or Keyforge CG, whatever you want to call that distribution thing, I know I'll be like interested in it, but I am kind of at my limit of dealing with FFG doing FFG things, which sucks because I have, generally speaking, really enjoyed their games, and I do not necessarily like regret spending the time playing them, but I am starting to regret giving FFG my money.
Yes, I can get behind that statement. And I'm certainly less burned in this game by you. By FFG. I haven't played as many games as you had.
Yeah, like I don't, like the Star Wars LCG, that was like everything that went wrong with Destiny. That game like paved the way for, this is how FFG could screw up a game in the beginning. And it happened again, which is obviously like the exact thing that you don't want to see from anything. You just prefer people, businesses, anybody to like not make the same mistakes multiple times.
Yeah. Flock, what about you? What's your plans post Worlds? Obviously, we talked about all three of us are going to Worlds, so we know we're at least playing Destiny for another 4 months or 3.5 or whatever it is, and you're going to LVO as well.
And the downside of the timing of this, it's like during my busy season at work because I'm an accountant, so it's like, great, I'm gonna have to like not sleep in order to do any like testing for Destiny.
Perfect. Suck it up.
Yep, that's fine.
Flock, what's your plans?
My plan? I have no clue yet. I guess more so like playing Star Wars Destiny is not so much like the game, it's more so just like hanging out with friends doing something that's fun. So pretty much like whatever you guys probably get into, I'll just jump on board. I'll try all the different games. I think Tom's coming with us to LVO. I think he and I want to try out X-Wing or Legion or something like that. Just mess around with some other games. So that's probably what we're gonna do. Try different games out, mess around, see what we like. But ultimately, it's like whatever all you guys get into is what I'm gonna end up probably just piggybacking on just so I can just play games with my friends, basically.
Yeah, and that's what like some of the games, like echoing what Scott said of miniatures. If it's delayed, it's not a big deal. But also, like X-wing, you could buy in for $100 and never buy another ship, and like if you play casually, it's not a big deal. Like the investment level of X-wing is obviously much lower than what it is than even like probably one set of a play set of Destiny cards.
Yeah, if you're targeted with what you buy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what, like, for me, I had bought Rebel stuff for a little while, but now I just
stupid
have
land
Republic.
speeder, just like that stupid land speeder.
Oh, for Legion?
Yeah,
that's brutal. But yeah, if you're targeted with what you're buying and you scope it in, it can be a pretty affordable hobby. And then
honestly, with Destiny, if you were targeted with what you're buying, it would be much more affordable.
But I like cracking packs.
I know. That's the problem there.
Brian and I just bought Legacies
for a Star Wars game. You'd be just
I'd die. I would die.
Swimming in decks.
Carrie would like walk into the basement. There's just like a pile of deck. Oh, that'd be bad. That'd be very bad. FFG, please don't do that to me. I enjoy being married and having money. Some money. But yeah, Brian and I actually even bought Legacies boxes. They were like $15. And so we're going to do it like a live stream, build from the box type thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hey, like if you want, I mean, I don't necessarily think like in the future as far as like it does happen where like if card games are defunct, eventually things do kind of go up. That like I've sold like really old like Bandai Dragon Ball cards for a fair bit of money, and like nobody played that game when it was out, so it's kind of scary to me that like people are willing to spend money on the cards now. So maybe there's a point in time when Destiny cards are worth something because someone on eBay just wants them.
Yeah.
But it could be the case of there's a lot of extra and that won't happen until there's not any sealed product left. People will just buy stuff at Gen Con at those like bargain bin things that Tommy and I buy old Star Trek CCG stuff at. That'll be Destiny one day.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably even go to your local game store right now and buy some extra stuff.
$10.
Yeah. I was thinking of messaging Top Deck Games and be like, I will buy Empire at War boxes for $10, and I will not go a penny higher. Because I know they have a bunch.
Would you really want to buy them, though?
Maybe for, like, sealed stuff, I would. But like our basement stuff,
$100 buy 10 boxes? Forget it.
Forget it.
Forget it.
Where are you, like, Flockton? Sometimes I just, like, think that you are not from where you're from.
Where am I from?
I'm saying your mannerisms do not necessarily match with the area in which you've lived.
Where does frick yeah come from?
You just sound like
I'm from the future, bro.
Yeah, you're from a future of some sort. You're from like the idiocracy future.
Count everyone.
You're the president. You're Terry Crews.
All right.
What's that guy's name?
we can wrap up here. I don't think we have anything else to really say on the topic, but we're here. We'll be here through Worlds at minimum. Any other final thoughts, gentlemen?
No, I mean we'll probably like you said, we'll figure out what may become of us post Worlds.
Yeah. So stay tuned. But if you guys
questions.
Did we get any in?
We have a few. I don't know if they're any good, but
why is Brian ducking me at Worlds? I don't know. Brian's got a lot of issues. Are you excited for Legends of Runeterra? I'll try it. Sure. Who are the Golden Dice North crew and why are they so good looking? It's a very good question. You'll find out in an article on Thursday. Where were you when the game died? I was at work, and then I proceeded to do no work because I couldn't focus on anything.
Yeah, I was at work at lunch, and I'm like on my phone, and I see it. I was like, I look up at everyone's, yep, game's dead. And I was like, I'm sitting on my desk the whole day just crying on Discord.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Flock, why did you slow play Alan?
No. Alan was slow playing so hard. He was playing Thrawn today, and like I would do my action, I just roll out, whatever. And then I'd just be sitting there thinking my next action, and then he's just still thinking. I think his action was like he took like an action about 3 minutes.
Did he beat you?
No.
No.
But he was just like every action was like just thinking. I'm like, you're showing lethal. Just kill Ayla. just kill her. Well, I'm gonna do like 3 damage to you.
Yeah.
So.
And Banana, why do people have such a hard time sending a Discord invite that doesn't expire? Who knows? The world may never know. All right. I mean, other than that, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. If you're looking to consume Destiny content as we go through the end of our time together for this game, if you're still looking to get covert missions or get old singles, whatever it might be, of course, we're still going to recommend GameShopOfDestiny.com. You can use the promo code Golden Dice for 15% off all your singles ordered through that. So, yeah, I know many of you might not want to be ordering, but if you're looking out there, definitely recommend Game Shop of Destiny for that. All right, Flock, I'm going to give it to you. What's our sign off this week?
May the Force be with you.
It's like SOLOSOLOSOLO. I'm living my life and got stress no more. I'm putting on my shades to cover up my eyes. I'm jumping in my ride. I'm heading out tonight. I'm solo. I'm Han Solo. I'm Han Solo. I'm Han Solo. Solo.